And with that, I will actually start with you, Pat. Our speakers tonight, Pat McDonald. What is your title?
I am a project specialist.
Okay. Pat has helped us out a lot with not only these seminars, but the home improvement fair that we have in February every year. We'll have one. We just had one last February. It'll come up 2 Februaries from now. And Pat's been a great help for that. Finally, Larry Holton is a master electrician at Home Depot, and I'm just going to turn it over to him because he has the answers to any of your questions.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about LED lights. Who has LED lights? Anybody here already have some in their homes? Fantastic. That's great. You're saving a lot of energy. That's one of the biggest points of the LED lights, is that they are an energy saver. Excuse me. And does anybody know how LED lights work? Well, it's a circuit board in there. They're electronic. They're not at all like normal filamented lights that have a filament in them that glow and get warm. They actually have an electronic circuit like a computer that drives these little light emitting diodes. A lot of diodes in electronic circuits don't have light come out of them, but these have a crystalline structure that allow light to pass through. When they first came out, they had a real hard time coming up with the color that we like in our light bulbs, which is kind of a soft white color we're used to. So they've worked with some plastic substrates that covered over the LED and different materials, and they're able to come out with one that's people like now. When they first came out, they were kind of bluish white. Now people are deciding they like the bluish white. It's a little brighter. So, we know how to do that. Those were the first ones they came out with. So they're making those too. There's a lot more range than you have with incandescent and also fluorescent. One of the big advantages over fluorescent, which is also an energy saving bulb, the CFLs or compact fluorescents, is that they are not affected by how many times you switch them on and off. With a fluorescent bulb, that limits the life on it because of the starter involved in that technology. The fluorescents don't come on full brightness right away. LEDs do, just like a regular light. There's actually a delay of about 1/10 of a second. It's just kind of a click like that. But it does come on full brightness, and they are dimmable. Most compact fluorescents or CFLs are not dimmable. You can buy some dimmable ones, but it's a very small range that you're working with and dimming. The LEDs has a larger range, and they dim just like a regular incandescent bulb. So those are kind of the advantages. They're also another advantage is the fact that with our wonderful 75 degrees year-round weather here, oh no, it gets cold here, they're not affected by the cold. So they're good outdoors, good indoors, in your garage if it's unheated. So it's just a great all-around bulb. Their price initially is a little higher, but with most of them are in a range of 22 to 25 years of life, some even more than that. Standard bulbs, what do you get, a year and a half, maybe 2 years. With compact fluorescent, probably 5,000 to 10,000 hours. So which is about half the amount, maybe a half to a quarter of the amount of the LEDs. So LEDs, if we think of them like an appliance, you don't replace your microwave every year or two. It's an LED. You put it in, you're going to forget about it. It's going to be an appliance. It's not something you're going to have to run down and buy another bulb. So those are kind of the main advantage of the LEDs over standard lights. They use about 1/6 of what a normal incandescent bulb would use. So if you had, let's say for example, you have a 60-watt LED bulb, soft white, uses 9.5 watts, normally it would be 60. So it gives the same lumens, which is how you measure light output with light bulbs. So if you're going to compare apples to apples, look at the lumens. Not every manufacturer puts that on there. GE seems to, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but you will see on the new technologies coming out, they do put lumens on there, so you actually know what you're comparing to. Cost of this, at present rates of energy, about $1.14 a year. So the different styles that have come out of LEDs. Indoor lighting for ceiling lights, wall lights, lamps, under cabinet lighting, outdoor landscape lighting, which you kind of see in the pictures here. There's the cable lights. There's, of course, you've probably all heard about the solar lights. Most of those are LED now because they use very little energy. And with the solar light, the solar panel is charging up a battery inside that when the sun's down, the battery comes on, the light lights at night. And it takes another charging cycle for that to come on. So if you took the battery out, you wouldn't have any light at all. So you definitely have to have a battery with it. But I guess the batteries are probably, I've had some in my yard that have lasted 3 years, right through the winter. I leave them out winter, summer. So depends on the fixture. And it's an LED, so it uses very, very low watts, probably 1/4 of a watt. Let's see. Anybody have any questions about anything? Yes, sir.
What about heat? The draw flooding?
The actual face of the bulb is cool to the touch. Like a normal bulb, you wouldn't be able to grab it and take it out while it's lit. The back part of the bulb is hot. All electricity develops heat, and they've designed this as a heat sink. When they first came out, they were a lot more like this, but even larger yet, to get the heat away from the electronics. And that's so that you get the long life out of there. But that part is always going to be warm. You're always going to have some heat. It's just the face of the bulb is going to stay cool. So you're probably going to feel cooler in a room if they're in recessed lights than you would with normal incandescents. Does that answer your question? Yes, sir.
You talked about 3-year lifespan of the landscape lighting, is that correct? Or is that the bulb?
3 year?
No, didn't you say that they last roughly 2 or 3 years? Did I hear you correctly on that?
No, they should last longer than that.
They do last longer? Just the battery, right.
The
So you-
battery, I'm sorry, yeah.
So that's my question. Do you
battery.
just replace the battery then?
Right,
And then, okay,
Yeah.
is the cost of that?
Cost them, they're about $8 for 4, so about $2 a battery. Yeah. Yep.
What's a lumen you mentioned?
A lumen is a measure of light output. So an average, like a 60-watt bulb would be about anywhere from 600 to 800 lumens, depending on which one it is. If it's incandescent, it's probably about 650. So you actually get a few more lumens out of an LED.
Is that on the packages?
Yeah, it should be marked right on the pad. And that's how you compare. So you won't see 60 watts anymore. You'll see a 9.5 watt, 13 watt, 10 watt. Like 100 watt. As you go up in wattage, of course, your wattage in the LED is going to go up the same. We had a 100 watt here. This one's 120 watt equivalent. It's 1200 lumens. So how they determine that, it's the scientists do that, but it is a measurement of how bright it's going to be.
That's pretty equivalent to the watts. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And this one actually draws 19 watts. So 19 as opposed to 120. It's pretty big savings. If you had a lot of these in your house, you'd be saving a lot of money.
Do you need to pay attention to the light fixtures where they all say, you know, maximum 60 watt or maximum 100?
That's a very good question. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people think because LEDs draw less wattage, well, you can put a 75 or 100 watt equivalent because it's only going to draw maybe 10, 13 watts. That's not true, because there is heat involved in the base of the light bulb, especially on a fixture that's on the ceiling, where the heat is going to go back up into the wiring, can dry out the insulation, and you could have a fire. So you want, if they say a 60 watt on the fixture, you should use a 60 watt equivalent. You might get by with going one step up, like a 75, but I would keep an eye on it if you did that. Yeah. Yes.
Is there any brand that's better than another? Or are they all?
They're all really good. We sell just about everything that's out. I don't know if we have any Sylvania. We sell GE, Philips, Cree. Cree is actually the company that developed the technology for LED lights. Everybody had to buy them from Cree. They had a patent for a certain amount of time. The patent runs out. That's why you see Cree selling light bulbs directly now. They thought, well, we developed it, why not sell the bulbs directly? Instead of distribute them to someone else and letting them sell them. So Cree EcoSmart is Home Depot's brand. You'll start seeing a lot more EcoSmart come out. That's been our brand for any equivalent, you know, regular incandescent as well as CFL and LED. Oh, they did come out with, just recently, a 3-way LED bulb, which a lot of people have been asking about, and it's equivalent to 30, 60, 100, I believe.
No, 30, 70, 100.
30, 70, 100, thank you. Yeah, it has to be additive, so 30 and 70 and 100, so. And you'll notice as the wattage goes up, the bulb gets a little larger in size. That's to get the light out of it as well as the heat sink to get the heat away from the bulb. Yes, sir.
Okay, currently, these are all AC powered.
Yes.
Okay. And on the outdoor one, you were talking about battery, that's a DC powered.
That's a DC power. It's 1.2 volts per battery. Some take one, some take two batteries.
Okay, so let's say that I'm going to have a solar panel, and I'm going to start converting a lot of my appliances to DC voltage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, today I'm having a hard time finding LEDs for indoor rating for DC voltages because they've all got the AC converter in there that does it. It's a transformer, which is all it is doing is converting. That's where the heat comes in.
You're right, yes.
From the AC to DC voltage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's actually running the LED. Do you see that changing where I'm going to be able to buy some DC?
It's possible. Most of the solar systems, the PIV systems that I've seen out there are 120 volt systems. So they're taking solar light, running it into batteries, and then changing it to 120.
Yeah, and what I'm working on in the industry today is I want to move away from the AC voltage.
Sure.
Okay, if I'm running strictly a DC power supply, DC batteries, then there's quite a bit of inefficiencies when I start converting from DC to AC
Right.
or back to DC again.
Sure.
So I'm actually losing it. So, okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's quite possible. I think that's a great point you make, and I think if they do that, perhaps the heat factor would go down, longer life yet, maybe some different designs. Yeah, I think that would be great. I would love to see, you know, those people that are in the ice fishing out there would love it because they want a 12 volt bulb that's gonna come on, and DC would be, you know, exactly what they're looking for. So yeah, I think that's a great, could happen.
Yes. With the heat that these bulbs throw off, is there any concern about enclosed fixtures like a ceiling fixture that has a globe in it as far as overheating goes, or is that?
The same as a normal fixture. It doesn't develop any more heat than a normal bulb. It's just in a different part of the light bulb. So yeah, heat is always a concern with electricity.
But if the fixture's rated for a 60 watt incandescent, then a
Right.
LED bulb should work fine in that.
Like the recessed lights, they're 65 watt, 65 or 75 watt. And of course the equivalent in LED are 65 watts. So you really don't want to put 120 watt in there. Yeah, you could have a problem. Well, now the recessed lights, and they have for years, they have a heat sensor in there that would shut the light off. So you'd have nuisance turn off and back on again. But,
Hi. Yes.
CFLs have different shades of light, you know, soft white, bright white, daylight. Are they going to do that with the?
yes, we do have those with LEDs. Here's a bright white. This is a 75 watt, and this one actually has a swiveling head right on the light bulb. We have bright white, soft white, and daylight. This one is daylight. And the 60 watt that you put in your lamp. Yeah, when I sell these to people, I usually ask them, what are you looking for? Are you looking for mood lighting, or or do you want to be able to see, like to read? You know, mood lighting, let's face it, we can walk around with a candle and it looks cool, but can we actually read print? Not very well. So that's why the daylight are becoming popular for that.
The older we get, the more we need. You need for reading and stuff like that, you're best to use full spectrum lighting. It's less hard on your eyes and it's much easier to read when you have that natural lighting.
Seems
for
to make the
reading.
print jump right out at you.
Yeah, it does. It does.
What is it? What was it? I didn't quite hear.
The natural daylight is best as we age
Yeah.
because you're going to be able to read your print better.
Yeah, did you call it rose spectrum?
It's natural lighting.
Natural.
Yeah, full spectrum.
Is that on the check?
When you get a package, it's going to have the blue on it, okay?
Okay.
And if it's soft white, it's going to be green, and if it's bright white, it's yellow. So they try to color
they try to
code
label it
everything.
To make it easy.
But I use that for, I do artwork, and that's all I use, is that natural daylight to do my artwork, because the colors just jump right out at you, you know, they work so well.
I wanted to show you guys this one, thanks Pat. Great for a hall, stairwell. I just sold 12 of these today for a commercial project for stairwells. It really lights up bright. It's very low profile. So if you're going downstairs, you don't want to be hitting your head on something. Very simple to put in. These are all LEDs, all these little yellow deals in there. That's an LED array.
So what does it look like when it's lit?
Oh,
It's a ceiling light?
Oh, like this. Yeah, it's a ceiling light. Ceiling, wall. And they just go on a normal electrical box.
How much are they run?
That one's about $30, just under $30. Yes, sir.
I have a question about undercabinet lighting.
Yes.
Considering putting them in and actual granite countertops are old selected.
Right.
So that was part of my question. And also I've seen puck light type and then also strips. And there's different types of strips, one for tape type versus one wire.
Right.
I'm just wondering if you have any suggestions.
Well, I actually did an installation where the customer picked out the lights. They picked out pucks. And we put the pucks in, and they had it was a marble countertop with like some speckles in it. It was beautiful. It looked great. And you could also see the reflection of the light in there as well, and it actually added to the look. So it's, you know, what I usually suggest to people is, and most of these, the under cabinet lights are in boxes like this. You take one home, you hook it up, put it under there, see what it looks like. That's what I'm going to do when I want to do a project like that. And if it looks great, keep it. If it doesn't, try something else. Bring it back. The Home Depot is all about you being happy with the product, and we're not going to force anything on you. So, a puck would be
Right there.
like this here, like hockey pucks. That's where that came from. Okay, they're in the shape of a hockey puck. So they're individual lights as opposed to a strip like this with the LEDs all in here. And the pucks, most of them have more than one LED in them. This one just has one, but it has a reflector built in, so they're doing everything they can to get the light out of the fixture and onto your surface that you're trying to light up. So.
But the pucks, can they be set up so that when you have one switch, they all go on, or do you have to?
Absolutely. It's just, you want to set it up ahead of time. That's why it's real important if you can get with your installer, electrician, whoever's installing them for you, and make sure they're wiring accordingly so that that light switch is going to turn on whatever you want to go on.
Yeah, I want to replace existing cabinet lights.
The best time to do that is before you put the cabinets in. You can bust holes behind the wall and run your wiring and not worry about it. The cabinets will cover it. If you do it afterwards.
30 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, if you already have cabinets in, you got to get creative. probably go with the low voltage lighting, the pucks, and you can just run that light, the wiring up into your cabinet or underneath. We have ways of
And we
hiding
do
that.
offer home services, that's what I work with. We do offer electrical work,
Okay.
that we can come out, give you an estimate, give you a free quote. If you like it, fine, go ahead with it. If you don't,
Okay.
you're not obligated in any shape or form.
Okay.
Yeah, and our installers have done a lot of these installations.
Yeah, I got fluorescents up there now, and you have to turn them on, you have to do each one.
Right.
But turn off, you can just use the master switch. But, it gets to be a nuisance after a while.
Yeah. Yes, and some of
And
these.
some of those older pucks, I'm sorry, Larry.
Oh, go
Those
ahead.
older puck lights were halogen lights, and they were much hotter. You know, even to, just if you accidentally touch them or something, they run really hot.
Okay.
So the LEDs are so much nicer in that respect.
Good.
Do the pucks come with a switch?
Pardon me?
Do the pucks come with a switch?
The pucks, yeah, I believe they do.
Yeah, I think it's all in.
Yeah, there's a transformer there that changes it over and a switch to dimmer switch, full range dimmer. with on-off.
Individually or?
For all of them. So in other words, you'd be tying them into a central point. You'd be plugging into a central point where your transformer, it's actually called a power supply, changes the voltage from 120 to about 12 volts. And from that point, your switch comes off of that. So it has to be done there's good instructions on how to put it in, but like Pat says, if you need help with it, we have people that can install them for you.
And you can always stop at the store too. I mean, they're full time.
We take them out of packages all the time. Yeah. Yeah, this one is kind of cool. This is a strip that rolls out and it has adhesive on the back. You can cut it about every 3 inches. I don't know if you can see the tape on the edge. We'll pass that one around. That comes with, you have to buy a transformer to drive that, and you can also get a dimmer for it that you can mount on the wall or underneath the cabinet, in the cabinet, above. It's kind of a component.
Those in a lot of different applications, in shelves and just all over the place. It's becoming, if you look on Pinterest or any design, they are using a lot of that LED strip lighting, a lot of it. We have one that's for landscape strip lighting there that is being used more and more.
This is landscape lighting. There's a rock light. And the solar panels on the top.
There you go.
Oh, rock light.
This is suitable for damp locations, so you have to put this over a shower.
Absolutely. Yeah, and a lot of our recessed lights are the same way. This one here.
In this case here, I can put a number of ups on this one transformer until I reach the 30 watt level. Okay.
Yeah, you do not want to exceed that. There is a 60 watt power supply as well if you had a lot more.
Are these strips, undercabinet strips of 110?
The actual strip itself is about 12 volts. It's a lower voltage.
Okay, so you need a transformer with it.
That is correct, yes. Some of these are built, if it's a strip like this, it's included right in the fixture itself, yes.
That rock light.
So it's only when you have the puck lights and the smaller ribbon light that you need to have a separate power supply.
I have 110 coming out of the walls, that was the cabinet's up here.
Yeah, in that case, then you would probably want to opt for either the hardwired.
But that would work. I don't want to do the possible.
Yeah, this one here. This one can be hardwired, direct wired, and they're shown right on the box. It shows the wire nut, so you can direct wire that.
Great. And this is dimmer.
That is dimmer. Dimmer switch is built right into it.
What if I line up 5 or 6 of these on one switch?
You can do that as well. Yeah, if the wiring is all attached, you can turn them all on with one switch. Yeah, they use such little power that
But they can be dimmed individually too?
you can.
Yeah.
What size is it?
I believe that comes in 12, 18, 24, I think that's about it. There may be more. I know I've been on a website and I've looked up under our LED under cabinet lighting, and I haven't gotten to the end of it. It just goes on and on and on. There's a lot of options out there. Too many to hold in the store.
It is. It's fun to enlighten people about energy.
That's about a 40-watt bulb. Now you're spreading it out over a distance.
You know, sometimes when you're picking out lights while he's talking there to the customer, sometimes, you know, your overhead lights and things like that in your kitchen, whatever, it's not always necessarily the fixture you're buying. You've got to think about the light bulb that you're going to put into that fixture to get the maximum lighting of what you're looking for. And, you know, because I help people every day with that particular problem, because they'll buy incandescent soft white regular bulb. Well, that's a yellow tint, and that's not going to give you the kind of light that you want. You know, so that's something to always think about when you're, you know, have a light fixture. Your light fixture might be just fine. You just need to change the light bulb that's in that fixture.
Are they gonna start making real temperature light bulbs? These LEDs, they could go into fans.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Because those are mostly.
The hard part is getting that heat sink on there, to get the heat away from the electronics. People want a bulb. There's a lot of research involved in coming up with these bulbs, so the costs are kind of high, which is probably why the bulbs are high initially. So to come up with something like that, they, you know, instead of selling you, well, I've got a real nice decorative bulb, but it's $100. People are going, oh no, I don't want to buy that. So it takes some work to come up with the, you know, the materials for one thing. That's why they use a lot of plastic in this. It's an inexpensive material, and we probably use more oil in our plastics than we do in our automobiles. It's all an oil-based product. So when we think, well, let's get rid of, and it's great, let's get rid of, you know, using gas in our cars, but we're still going to need oil to make plastic products. Plastic's here to stay. It's not going away. Yes, sir.
Hey, Larry, I'm in a townhouse complex in Bloomington, in Building 76, and we have 85 lanterns, like on your picture board there, on the right side, that are all over the place. Each of them holding a 60-watt bulb that's clear with the dusk to dawn sensor. Okay. Now, we got a dilemma. There's some good LEDs that you've got in the box there that'll work, but we're still using the dusk to dawn sensor, and we're blowing up the sensors, which aren't lasting. Should we just say, hey, look, this thing's $1.14 a year per light? Should we just leave them on all the time and not use the sensor? Or is there a sensor that's out there that will work with the dusk to dawn on top of that?
That is something that they're working on now. I know that's a big deal. We do have some LED lights, light fixtures that do have the dusk to dawn and motion built into the fixture. I don't think we brought any of those tonight. It's an integral deal. It's not where you add a bulb to it. And they work with that. So I know the technology is there. They just need to get it out into.
They don't want to replace the fixture. They were just trying to insert a new device.
Yeah. So I would first, I don't get a chance to go online as much as I'd like to. I'd look online on homedepot.com first and see what's there. And then, and there's a lot of information on there. You just have questions, engineering questions, and they'll direct you to people that can answer those for you.
So you heard of that problem before with the sensors?
Yes, I have, and that's something that I know they're working on trying to get that resolved.
Yeah, we've had customers inquire about that.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
If you're going to put some under cabinet lighting and you want it for tasks, for doing tasks at your kitchen, in your kitchen, is the strip light better than the puck light, or do they provide the same?
For ease of installation, you could put a strip in with a cord on, plug it in, and you're done. There's no wiring involved. But we do have very similar to that with the one I was passing around here that can be hardwired in if you didn't want the cord to show. for a specific task.
She's asking,
But is-
she's asking which one would be better,
Puck
the
light
puck or
versus-
the strip for task lighting.
For task
Either one, I mean,
Okay.
Your puck lights, depending on how far apart you
Yeah, a
put
puck
them,
light is gonna be a smaller
Because it's
area.
gonna be a smaller area, it's gonna go, the light's gonna cast down like that. Whereas your strip light's gonna, do that whole area that's below it.
Right. And it's going to depend on the height of the cabinets. If the cabinets are kind of low, you won't need as bright a one. If the cabinets are up pretty high, then you might want to pick a strip.
3 bedrooms,
Yeah.
Bloomington, Rambler.
Yeah. I mean, really,
Can
you could
the
go either
strip
way with
lights
that.
be daisy chain?
Absolutely. Yes.
Do you have it?
Go ahead. Yeah.
For outdoor landscape applications with LED lighting, if you do things like uplights, do you have to clear the snow, or do they generate enough heat to keep exhausted?
Yeah, they do. They generate the heat, and they're all enclosed. The ones that are made for outdoors are designed to have water and snow directly on them. Like I said, I've got the little posts, the little stake lights, and I just zip tie them to a fence post, and they're on and off all winter long in the snow. They don't generate a lot of heat, so you might have to clear the snow off like you do with ordinary incandescent lights as well. But yeah, if you had a bright enough one that put off some heat, it probably would melt a lot of the snow. Depends on how much snow we get in a period of time. Yeah. Right. Sir, you had a question?
Yeah, with my undercabinet lighting, I'm also would like to move some outlets that I have, so I put a backsplash up behind. And so I'm wondering, does Home Depot carry any integrated LED and outlet strips that
With outlets.
As an angle underneath?
Right now, we don't. And I know they do sell them at Southern Lights because I've helped somebody install them on a job with a customer, and they were kind of expensive, $100 a piece per unit. So they are out there. The technology's out there, and we probably have it on our website. We just don't have them in the store. I think they try to keep things under about $60 for any lighting. It's pretty average price. So yeah, it's out there. It's just, it's a little more money.
But if you did order something from our website and you got it and found that it was not going to work for your application, you can return that to any Home Depot and you'll get all your money back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, existing overhead recessed fixtures that take the 65-watt incandescent flood. I've got several of those and found that first the fluorescence wouldn't go in there because of the ballast built in there. And then tried some LEDs and they wouldn't fit because of the heat sink. Is there a solution for retrofitting these without turning the ceiling apart, or a bulb that's made to?
Yes. Now, it sounds like you might have the shallow cans. Yeah. There's only so much room for a bulb to go in there. So if you did have the shallow cans, and even if you didn't, they just wouldn't fit with what you have. I'm glad I was just going to get into this. This light here, and there's several others like it, that you would basically take the bulb out, take the trim out, take the trim off. Now all you have is just the bare can there. You screw in, I don't know if you can see it here, but it comes in a piece that screws into the socket with the wires attached that are attached to the back of this that drive the LED. And then this fits up into the fixture the same way your old trim would. It's usually springs of some sort or a pressure fit. And so this takes the place of changing out the bulb. You're changing the trim and the bulb all in one. And retrofitting it, getting the same equivalent as a 65-watt reflector fly. And the other feature about this, if you didn't have a recessed can, but you wanted that look, which is going to be similar to this one that I have the cover for, this will fit into a 4-inch junction box as well. So it's an either or. It can either go in a recessed can or a 4-inch junction box. Wired in, it's small enough to fit, and it'll just sit on the surface like that. They call it a disc light.
We sell
So, yeah. for people that want that recessed look without cutting all these holes in their ceiling. Dimmable, yes they are. I would say probably 95% of our LEDs, maybe more, are dimmable. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll pass this around so you can. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
I'll ask another one then. How about existing fluorescent light fixtures with the 4-foot bulbs? Is there anything designed
Oh, yeah,
to,
yeah. I brought that up. Very good. Thank you. We do have, this is probably 2 weeks old. This technology in the store. They've come out with a 4-foot bulb that will retrofit into a fluorescent light. You don't need to remove the ballast. It comes with these plastic, I think they're just protectors on there. You take those off on both ends and just put it up. Just take the bulb out. You don't do anything with the ballast and put this in. Now part of it, there's a white side and kind of it looks a little clearer. It's a little frosty. You want the white side up to the top so it's reflecting the light down. Unless you want the light pointed up towards the fixture. But these are about $25 now a piece. So they're expensive to begin with. Again, very long life on them.
You don't have to worry about mercury either.
No mercury. You know.
Do they come in other lengths?
And other links. They might come in other links online. I haven't seen them yet. That's a possibility. I'm sure they will eventually. Yeah, this will fit in place of a T8 lamp, which is a 1-inch diameter lamp. They draw 14.5 watts as opposed to a 32-watt bulb. And they run very cool.
Are they considered, when you go to dispose of them, to be hazardous waste or just trash waste?
They just get ground up and burned in the garbage bin. There are no hazardous materials in them. Not yet. I noticed this does say non-dimmable. There's the 5% I was talking about. So these are not dimmable yet. They probably will be eventually, but at this point they're not.
The technology in LED is just like
Seems to change
so fast.
weekly, right?
And so things are always coming out brand new, you know. And like that bulb was $25. Well, when we first started selling LED lights in the store, just a single light bulb was what?
About $30.
$30, you know. And now they've come down to about $8. So the more consumers are buying them, the more we can keep that pricing down.
How fast did that price come down from 8 to 8? How fast did the price come down from 30 to 8?
Oh, what, 2-3 years?
Yeah,
3 years?
about that, about 3 years. And they've discontinued manufacturing 60 watt, 75 watt, 100 watt, and I believe 40 watts are next. As of the first of this year, they stopped making the 60 watt bulb. So we can sell what we have, and they do have an Eco Vantage bulb. We carry an Eco Vantage bulb by Philips that it has basically what it is, and they're just not putting it on the packaging. It's a halogen bulb. It's a bulb inside of a bulb. They don't put the halogen on the label because people like, oh, that's hot, and they really. I think they put them out there for people who they're just stuck. I have to have an incandescent bulb. They just as soon sell you an LED bulb. You're going to save a lot more energy. Probably the most energy you'd save is somewhere between 20 and 28% on an incandescent bulb now. And you get about a year. Some of them are 0.7 years, not even a full year for life. So you're not getting the life out of them.
Buy LED bulbs, the other thing was rebates. Always, when you buy anything with LED, look on the website, because if it's rated Energy Star, any products even, if it's registered Energy Star on the package, look on your websites, because a lot of times there's rebates there that people just are not taking advantage of. And some of them are pretty darn good.
Which websites?
You just look up for that, maybe that product, you know, like Cree, LED Cree, you know, light bulbs, and
Would Excel website have?
Excel, yeah.
Any other questions?
Those LEDs, if Excel already deals with Home Depot, the rebate, or?
I'm not sure exactly how the program works, above my pay grade, but they do offer some kind of a savings. It was probably on our electric bill. It must be phenomenal to run one of those stores. And what they've done is they tell us which bulb they want to mark a lower price on. So you'll see the little Excel stickers. They actually come in and they put these stickers on there. I think we had this 60-watt bulb was $497. Yeah, the Cree bulb was $497. It's back up to $997. They dropped their rebate. I've heard that they're going to put it on again near the end of the summer.
They actually have a energy audit that will come into your home.
Yep.
And depending upon like your other appliances that you have, they'll reduce, you know, whether it's 1% or 5%, I don't know what it is, but the energy audit goes and looks, but they look for other things too, like, you know,
heat loss and
heat loss.
Yeah.
Pretty big deal.
Excel energy on their website, so anything that screw on, they don't rebate it because they keep rebate the store already.
Yeah, you'll see it on the price of the product, if the price will be lower at the store if Excel has. They may have different rebates on other bulbs that are not priced lower at the store. That's what Pat's talking about. There may even be some tax savings too at the end of the year. Okay, we're going to wrap it up, folks, here.
Talk a little bit about the outdoor lighting though, any considerations for outdoor? I mean,
Yeah, did you want to wrap it and I can talk to her about that afterwards, or?
Sure, unless everyone else wants to benefit from that.
You want to hear?
It's up to you.
Yeah, you can do a little bit.
Yeah, you want to know exactly what about outdoor lighting? What products are out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like Pat was saying before, we have these strips. You can run them along, you know, decks, railings, etc. Of course, you've got the stake lights that go on the ground. They're LED and solar operated. We have...
On the low voltage wiring like the other ones.
Yeah, we do have some LEDs as well that work with the 12-volt low voltage lighting as well. They're going to be in green packages. Don't know if we have any. I don't see any here. Well, this is one of them. But they're going to be green colored, the solar, or not the solar, but the LED 12-volt.
And you got rope lighting LED. I used to have this off my yard. It's great stuff. So easy to put out there. And it can handle the weather.
We also have some LED lights that go, let's say, on your garage, your exterior of the house. Just like a lantern, a post light. We've got an LED that'll work for that.
Do you have motion lights that go on and off?
We do. We've got a single, a 2-head, and a 3-head.
But if you come into the store, we'd be happy to show you what we have and the different applications that are involved with any of your landscape lighting. Because obviously we couldn't bring everything here with us, but we do have a wide assortment of stuff. And please come up here afterwards, guys, and check this stuff out.
Take a look at the products. Come on into the store. We'd be happy to answer your questions. A bug light? Floodlight for a driveway? Yes, we have the LED. Well, we've got, these are floodlights, and these are rated for outdoor.
What's the wattage equivalent?
Suitable for wet locations. So if you see that on there, you can put these outside.
Sure, okay.
You know, direct weather. Some of them they recommend that you have them under some kind of an overhang, but a lot of them are directly in the weather. All right, well, we want to thank you folks for showing up tonight. We appreciate it. We hope you come in the store and see more of our products, talk to us. Try some things like Pat says. If you like it, tell your friends about it. Thank you.